It is time for the final lesson in the machine learning masterclass. So the first thing I want to do is look at optimal practices for really properly saving and making predictions with your model. So a lot of what we do today is going to be looking at kind of post-model stuff. So what I want you to do is go to your collab.research.google.com web browser and find the most recent notebook, Bike Rentals ML Tuned, and go ahead and open it up. Now we don't want to change this one, so go ahead and make a copy. So go to Files, Save a Copy in Drive. And, let's call this maybe, I don't know, maybe Post Bike Rentals ML Tuned. Okay, so this is what we're going to do here. I want you to go through this carefully with me. Okay, the first thing I want you to do is go ahead and load in the data. So run that cell. You could or could not run things like df info. Importantly, though, we do need to build the final model. So go ahead and separate the data. And we know it's interesting. We don't actually need to split it here because we've already done that. Okay, you could or could not do that. Now, here's an advantage of writing notebooks like this is that you can actually minimize what you don't need, like this get baseline score for model. However, there are imports that we need, like this XGB regressor, but we can handle the imports a little later. So we're not worried about the baseline score or fine tuning. Okay, so go down to test final model, and this is what we want. Okay, so yeah, what we want to do now is we're going to change this. Okay, and I guess in effect, like we don't really need all this other stuff. We could go ahead and delete it because it's in the other notebook. So I'm actually going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to delete this cell, delete, delete, delete. Now, I'm going to change, we're going to use some of this. I'm going to change this to finalize model. Okay. So it's already been tested, so this is the final model. Now, we need to import the XGB regressor. So let's go ahead and do that. From XGBoost, import XGB regressor. There it is. I don't think I need to separate the, yeah, no, I do need to separate the data. Let's try to run that. Sometimes we get some errors when things get cut out. Now, we're actually going to fit it on all the data, not just X-train and Y-train. We do that when we're testing. But when it's all said and done, we say, this is the model that we want. You actually fit it on all the data because the more data, the better. Okay, we've already looked at not overfitting. Okay, so now we just want to use everything. So try that. Great. Now, it could be the case when we're not going to worry about testing it either. But so we'll get rid of that. Now, it could be the case that this took a long time and that you want to save your model. You don't have to go through this again. Well, let's look at how to do that right now. One standard way of doing it is you do what's called import pickle. Okay, that's the name of it. And what you can do then is, let's say what we're doing. We're going to use pickle to save and load model. And so basically this is going to put it on your computer. And so to save model, you can go with open, and then you call it something. So you could say something like final model, do a dot pickle though, and then WB. This is like writing it into binary code, and then as F, which is the file, and then you do pickle. It's actually dump, which is kind of interesting. Like you're dumping it on your computer. Pickle.dump. And then now you have to put in what we called it, the final model, and with the file. Okay, so what this should do is store ML model to computer. Okay, it worked. And if I click on this file, let's see, is it there? It is, final model.pickle, great. And now to load the model, right, we're going to do a couple things with it. So load model. computer. Similar things, so you do with open, and then really it's I'm just going to copy this line. This line is all the same, okay? The only difference is that you're reading instead of writing, so this should be RB. And then you can call it the same thing, you call it something different, doesn't really matter. The final model equals pickle.load. Now you can just put F here, so it's loading this, okay, which is what it was stored as up here, and now we're defining it as the variable final model. Okay, great. Let's do it as we type it in. Yeah, it actually does show the XGBoost parameters that we've used to fine tune. Okay, great. So you have a final model. What do you do with it? Well, there are actually quite a few things. And so what we'll do next is we will look at how to make predictions with it. Very exciting. And then we'll also look at something cool called feature importances, where you can look at what were the most important features in building the model, which can be very valuable to companies or people working with data. And then I can't resist at least doing one little Kaggle trick to see. We'll just do a quick check to see if we can find any improvements with it. Okay.